Hey guys, Kurt here, and today, a real ghost story. We got Halloween just a few days away, and so I thought it would be appropriate to share a real life ghost story with you. And I'm here with my old friend Jilliana.
Hi.
Jilliana and I go way, way back. We basically grew up together, and I think we parted ways after grade school, middle school, and then just a couple years ago, we reconnected because of our whole spiritual journey. We just kind of ran into each other that way on Facebook or something.
It was Facebook, yeah.
And she told me about this house that she grew up in behind us here. She grew up here, and the associated ghost story. Also, the events which precipitated the actual ghost story that you're about to hear took place 65 years ago, this November 1st, which is in just a few days. So we'd like to share that with you. So why don't you tell them your story about growing up? What happened?
Okay. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I was different. I would see people in my house, like not quite imaginary friends, but I would see people inside my house. And I would just not understand it.
Well, yeah, you were like 3 years old.
I was two
and you
or
saw
three.
you'd see
Yeah.
these people in your house.
And I would go to my mom, Mom, there's a lady in the dining room. No, there's not. Just go back to bed, Jill. Okay. Well, I grew up with her, this lady I would see by my side all the time. Called her Mama Daisy.
You called her Mama Daisy.
I called her Mama Daisy.
Interesting.
She told me from the very beginning her name was Mama Daisy. That's what I was to call her.
And she would, we've been in the house previously. We don't feel like walking through the weeds.
It's abandoned now.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, but
It was once a nice farmhouse.
it was a beautiful house.
But the place where the ghost would stand was right outside your bedroom door.
Right outside my bedroom door. So where my bed was, I would just look out the door and she would just be
She was there like
standing
watching.
She would just kind of
A full apparition, guys, a ghost that she could see. But of
natural
course,
ghost. Yeah.
you were like 3 years old, and they say like children haven't been programmed to not believe in ghosts and
Right.
stuff, so you could still see this woman.
I could, as long as I can remember. And I would see others like her, not as strong or full apparitions. I would see a lot of
Like
weird,
from here up or something.
yeah, weird, creepy things growing up.
And they were wearing like, tell them about the clothes they were wearing. This is
One
relevant.
guy was wearing really old style overalls, kind of like a farmer would wear. And excuse the pun, I'm from a farming family, so I can say that. But it was just really old, outdated clothes. Probably something you would see from the 50s,
1950s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Daisy, she was like wearing proper
Very
50s
proper.
clothing.
She was a very proper, and she had a little hat. And when I say Mama Daisy, you think an old lady. No, she wasn't an old lady. She was younger.
Mm-hmm. That was her name.
That was her name, Mama Daisy.
You'll find out. Just keep watching.
Yeah.
This gets weirder, guys.
Yeah. So
You told your mom about these people. Mommy, why are there people in our house watching me? And
Oh,
your mom was
Jill.
like, no.
She called me Jill, Jilliana Jill. Just go back to bed. Just go back to bed. Because I would go wake her up. Oh, just go back to bed. You're seeing things. It's a dream. It's a dream, honey. Go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I got older, I would still tell her, oh, Jill, stop. Imaginary friends. There's nobody there. You're fine. Okay. Well, Mama Daisy kind of faded as I got older.
Right.
But she was still there.
Could feel her.
I could feel her.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I could smell her perfume. Just little things. But she kind of faded as time went by. It wasn't until Kurt and I got reconnected that I started seeing her again, a little bit stronger. And one of the times you came out, you stood and mimicked her right where she was.
Yeah, I did.
And
I stood in the house right where she used to stand. And
you
you
could
could
feel her.
feel it, man. I've always been really sensitive to that stuff. I've
Mhm.
lived with ghosts before.
Right. And so she made her presence known to you.
Hmm.
Well,
They follow her all over the house. We walked up and down the house. It's been abandoned for a
about
couple
2
of
years
years now. But we
Couple
went in there
years.
last summer and they follow her everywhere. You could feel like the energy
Mhm.
following her around. They're like
Yep.
your buddy. They're like your
they're
friends.
my other family,
Yeah.
as I like to call them.
Very
My other
peaceful,
family.
guys. Not scary
I
at
was
all.
never scared.
Very peaceful
ever.
energy.
Hmm.
Good energy.
Yeah. So I didn't learn until, well, pretty much when Kurt came out, that the main, should I do the her name,
Oh yeah, the main person in who,
or should we go to the
well, yeah, I guess the main person's name is Daisy. Okay,
Daisy,
as you're
Mama
going to
Daisy,
find out,
Daisy.
right?
Yeah.
So what happened was in 1955, it was America's very first domestic terrorism event. Okay, so it wasn't
Mhm.
like foreign nationals. It was a guy, like an American guy, who bombed a plane.
Yeah.
Right here in Colorado, it was the very first like plane bombing in the United States ever. 1955, the guy made like a TNT bomb, and it even had like a mechanical clock and everything. It was the 50s, right? So it had like a mechanical clock,
A little
like
timer.
like you think of like in a cartoon bomb or something, like sticks of dynamite
Yeah.
and a clock, and he put it in a suitcase and he put it on the plane because he wanted to kill his mom. He wanted to kill his mom. Her name
So-
was Daisy.
Her name was Daisy.
Hmm.
At Stapleton at the time, back in the
Stapleton
50s,
Airport. That used to be the
Stapleton
airport in Denver.
You used to be able to buy insurance policies
Mhm.
out of a vending machine,
Like a cigarette machine kind of
just
thing.
randomly. Hey,
People
gonna
were
get one
afraid to
for you.
fly
Yeah.
still, so they had like
Yeah.
you could buy insurance before you got on a plane.
well, he wanted to get something out of her death,
Hmm.
little more than just a boom, I guess. So he bought an insurance policy for around $20,000, which back in 1955 was a lot of money.
Yeah,
So
it'd be a few $100,000 today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you could at the airport because
Just-
people were afraid of flying. You
Yeah.
buy a little insurance policy, and he bought one on his mom, put her on a plane with the bomb.
With the bomb and set the timer. And back then, my family's farm was right under the flight path of Stapleton Airport. And roughly 7:55 that night, I think it was,
Hmm.
the plane blew up
Boom.
over my farm.
Hmm. They found bodies in this tree behind us, hanging from the tree. Apparently, this house. I mean, they added a second.
Yeah, it's-
Your dad added the second story.
Yeah, it's been remodeled. About 30 years ago,
Hmm.
we added the second story onto the house. It used to be just a little 2-bedroom little bungalow.
Yeah.
Old
But this house was
farmhouse.
there too
But the house was there.
at the time,
Yeah.
and there was plane wreckage strewn miles. Like the tail was over there, and they found the nose, and they found people still strapped
Yeah.
to their seats in
So it was about a 1-mile diagonal path
Debris.
of debris
Mhm.
that they called the debris field.
Yep,
And there was 44 people on the plane that night.
they all died.
They all died. My grandfather and grandmother were just a couple miles away at their house when the bomb went off, and were really concerned, obviously.
Hmm.
My grandfather's best friend, Mr. Hop, lived on the property in another house. And,
Oh yeah, you're connected to the family that lived
Yeah,
here. Hmm.
yeah. And he was here with his girlfriend at the time, Mrs. Hop. And what they had to do.
I went to school with the Hops
Yeah.
descendants.
Right. You. Okay,
Mhm.
that's right.
Yep. You know the guy. Don't say his
Yeah,
name.
I'm
but
not
you
going
know.
to, but yeah.
Yeah.
I had to think for
You know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they would have to take their vehicles and drive around the bodies to mark them. That's how they marked them. They landed about a foot in the ground, some still strapped to the seats.
Hmm.
At the time, the ground was frozen. They already had first freeze, first snow. So landing a foot into the ground in frozen ground.
Well, yeah, they're going 300,
can
400 miles an hour.
Imagine the impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. these poor people.
There was a child.
There was
On
a
the plane.
15-month-old little boy, and we used to have baby toys light up
Oh,
with no
and
batteries.
Daisy, I think even before she told you her name, well, maybe, but she kept saying to you, you were 3 years old, so you didn't
Mhm.
understand what she was telling you.
No.
But she kept telling you, I'm the mom, I'm the mom,
She
I'm the mom.
always said, "I'm the mom, I'm the mom,"
It was
and then she
the
started
main
referring
character.
to herself as Mama Daisy.
Yeah, Mama
And it
Daisy.
wasn't until I hooked up with Kurt a couple of years ago that I looked at the passenger list for the
Yeah.
first time.
Uh-huh.
The mother that the whole bombing was geared towards, her name was Daisy.
Mm-hmm. It was United Flight
629.
629. United Flight 629. I'm going to put a link in the description box below.
Yeah.
There's going to be like a Google search link. If you just click on it, you can just Google it yourself, but I'll put like a picture of the passenger list. I'm pretty sure there's still one on Google. I should be able to link
Oh yeah.
to it. And then, do you want to do the picture of the old farmhouse? Or
Yeah, I can put
This-
up a picture or have Kurt put up a picture of what the old house originally looked like.
yeah, so I can
Yeah.
post that somewhere. I'll figure out where to do that, and then I'll post a link in the description box if you guys want to see the old farmhouse.
Mhm.
But I purchased a documentary film on YouTube.
A couple years
About it.
ago. Well, you still have it?
I still have it.
Yeah.
You have to pay for it, guys. But if you go on YouTube, you can type in United Flight 629, and it was some like investigative show, like old,
It was like 60
Crimes.
minutes or
yeah,
something
like
that was way back
like
then.
old crimes that they talk about on this investigative show. But it was like an hour-long documentary. If you guys want to check it out,
It's really interesting. It's and shows a lot of pictures and
it's interesting
How
how the
they
police
caught
figured it
him.
out. Yeah, they found I think it was like on a piece of clothing or some of the wreckage or something. The investigators from the FBI, they were like sniffing it and they're like, wait a minute, that smells like cordite, which is what they use in
Yeah.
explosives. And they were like, why is there cordite on the plane?
Mhm.
Wait a minute, this was a bombing? And they just
Right.
kind of started piecing things together, and they found like a little piece of wire from the bomb.
Something I can't exactly
Oh,
remember.
it was on Daisy's suitcase. It was her
Right,
suitcase.
It was
They
her
were like,
suitcase that they
why does this
found
smell like
all the
explosives?
components.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
And they said, all right, well, did anybody buy an insurance policy? And so they found where
son
the guy,
did.
and they caught him.
They caught him actually pretty fast, and
It was like 12 days they caught him.
Yeah, and within I want to say about 18 months or so, he was put to death in the gas chamber.
They gassed him.
They gassed him.
Well, he killed 44 people.
Well, yeah.
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 And it
So,
was
yeah.
after that they actually started to write laws making it illegal to
Say bomb
bomb planes.
on plane.
But they actually,
Yeah.
because of the way the laws were written at the time, I think the only thing that they could really get him on was killing his mom. They weren't able to get him for killing any of the other people.
First degree murder of his mom.
Because you have to go by the letter of the law,
Mhm.
right? But still, they got him and whatever, justice was done.
Yeah.
But it was after that they started writing all those new laws.
Right. Yeah.
After that.
So
Yep.
I grew up with Mama Daisy.
She grew up with ghosts.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I just think
Several of them.
I just think it's really cool that you could actually see.
I
I've
could
never
see her.
seen a full apparition. I had an angel, one of my angels,
Right.
sit on a train with me one time. That was fucking weird.
I've
but
seen my guides,
ghosts.
my angels.
Yeah.
I've seen them my whole life too.
oh, one
Ooh.
time. So can we tell him the babysitting story?
Sure.
So one time, so she's a babysitter,
yeah.
and the baby was sick or something.
She had just an upper respiratory cold. She just naughty, just the usual. And I would watch her overnights. And I had a baby monitor camera in there, so I could watch her from my room. And she looked like she was sleeping peacefully. Nothing.
Everything was copacetic.
Yeah. And I heard a lady go, "The baby, check the baby." The
She
baby,
heard it
the
in her
baby,
head.
The baby.
but it was like yelling, the baby, oh my God.
Get the baby. Get the baby.
In her third eye, she could hear this.
And I'm
right?
like, who? Okay, I'm like, who is this lady and what is she doing in my head, my house?
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel a presence in my room. And I'm like, what? Get the baby. She's just frantically screaming.
Yelling, get the baby, get the baby.
And I look at the monitor. I'm like, what? Look at the monitor. The baby's sleeping. But I'm like, something isn't right. So I run in there. She wasn't breathing because her nose got too congested.
Mhm.
She had stopped breathing.
Mm-hmm. So
And
you woke the baby up.
I
and it
woke
was
the baby,
all-
got her up, got her booger snucked out, and all that. And she was fine. She slept with me the rest of the night. I
Mhm.
wasn't about to let her out of my sight. It was her grandmother who had passed away a couple of weeks
It was the
before.
baby's grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, after that, I would hear soft humming coming from the room, from the
Yeah.
monitor. See orbs on the monitor a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
her mom confirmed that her mom, it was her mom, she would hear, or her mom would always hum to her little songs and stuff.
Mhm.
And I could never hear a whole song, just slight humming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always her mom with her, or her grandma, the baby's grandma, with them. And
That's amazing.
I've had a lot of other things happen.
Oh, yeah.
but-
We went and cleared a ghost out of your parents' house. Or at least made peace with the ghost, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
We went and talked to him one time.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, we just wanted to share these ghost stories with you. These things are real, guys.
Mhm.
Yes, of course, there's ghosts. I've lived with ghosts. I've had all kinds of, and I don't see ghosts like you do or hear them talking to me, but I can feel them. And the first time that ever happened to me, it scared the hell out of me. But now I know what it is.
Right.
But angels, ghosts, it's a thing, guys. It's absolutely real. And by the way, I just want to say that they're not necessarily scary. Everybody thinks of ghosts as being like very scary.
No.
They're not. Like when I come here to this house, it's just very tranquil and very peaceful.
Yep.
There are shadow people. I wouldn't mess with shadow
yeah.
people.
There's certain
Just
things you just don't mess
run
with.
away. Just leave.
Yeah.
Shadow people. But
Just get a feeling inside of you. If you see something, just go within and go, okay.
yeah, trust your instincts.
Trust your instincts on it.
But it's just a
Yeah.
person who died, guys. That's all it is. A ghost. It's a person who died.
Yeah.
That's all. No big deal.
Yep. And they're amazing if you could ever communicate with one. They're pretty neat. They're pretty neat.
Yeah.
So don't ever be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be
There is
afraid.
life after death.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And this is my heaven on earth. This
Yep.
old abandoned house.
It'll be missed.
Yep.
Well, thanks for sharing
Sure.
that story.
Anytime.
Jilliana, my friend Jilliana. Everybody, happy Halloween. Have a safe and happy Halloween.
Yes.
And I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.